of the Township of Morris, February 21st, 2024. The time is now 7 p.m. This meeting is being held in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act, and adequate notice of this meeting has been provided as required by law. Specifically, notice of this meeting was emailed to the Daily Record and the Morris News-Bee on January 5th, 2024, and posted on the Township of Morris website. The agenda and resolutions for the meeting are available on www.morristwp.com under Agenda Center. Certain portions of this meeting may be closed to the public for the oh, I'm sorry, I'm reading the wrong statement.
You're right.
Oh, no,
You're
okay.
perfect.
For the purpose of personnel and/or other matters as outlined in the Sunshine Law. Notice to members of the governing body and township staff. Any use of electronic devices during this meeting shall be used solely for the purposes of township business, and any communication are subject to the Open Public Records Act. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Mr. Grayzel.
Here.
Mr. Gyorfy.
Here.
Mr. Ravitz.
Here.
Mr. Jonnada.
Here.
Mayor Guariglia.
Here. Could we now have the police department presentation of the colors?
Time. Halt. Left. Face. Present. Arms.
And now we'll do the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Order. Arms. Board. Arms. Parade. Rest.
Thank you. At this time, the Morris Township Committee would like to recognize Morristown High School girls volleyball team as the North Jersey State Champion. Could I please have Smitty Horton, Athletic Director of the Volleyball, and Coach Kathy Hormaza come to the podium? Congratulations.
Thank you.
Hi, ladies. I just have a couple. Well, I don't know if you can hear me on this. Just have a couple remarks quickly. The Morristown girls volleyball team had an historic season, winning the first Morris County tournament title. They did all this with a first-year coach who set a huge standard. Coach Kathy Hormaza credits her team with playing with complete confidence, which is something she instilled in them all season. She knew that they were talented enough, but it was the confidence that would put them over the top. The group final was Morristown's first loss of the season, ending with a record of 23-1. They went all the way to the Group 4 state finals and lost to a team from South Jersey. They are the North Jersey State Champions. And an interesting sports statistic, on August of 2023, the all-time record of over 92,000 fans showed up for the Nebraska-Omaha D1 women's volleyball game. And the first televised NCAA championship women's volleyball game between Texas and Nebraska averaged 1.7 million viewers when it went up against an NFL game. So for those of you who think that women's sports are not exciting enough or aren't fast enough or won't bring fans to the stadiums, you are actually falling into the minority. Hopefully, we will see our Morristown athletes excel in whatever they choose to do and know that the experiences they shared on this championship team will remain a lifetime memory. Congratulations. And now we'll have your coach. present your certificates.
Okay, we want to read them off and have the athletes come up.
If you would come up, and then if you'll form a line, go right in front of the dais.
Okay. Before we get started, thank you all very much for having us here tonight. I'm going to pass the mic off to Coach Kathy here in a second. I just wanted to tell you a little bit about our coach. It was mentioned that we were 23-1 this year. I think we'll have her back next year. So for those that don't know, Kathy is actually a full-time police officer who works the evening shifts for the transit department. So she actually starts her day off with us at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, coaching our athletes. She's not only the girls coach in the fall season, but she's our boys coach as well in the spring season. So I just wanted to say that she's not only a superhero at night, but she's a superhero during the day for our athletes. So nice round of applause for Kathy Hamazi.
I'm very bad at public speaking, so I'm going to keep it very short. I'm very thankful to even have this opportunity to present our girls. They worked so hard, as you can tell our record shows. Since the very beginning of our season, they went from winning a tournament to not losing a game. We went on to win the Morris County tournament. We won sectionals, and we beat the number one state in the number one team in the state, which was very exciting because it finally gave us the recognition that we very much deserved. Thank you guys for having us here. And let me just start off with our girls. All right, Gwen Atkins. There you go. Just go ahead and line up. Haley Atkins. Sarah Bogert. Grace Fenton Fletcher. There you go. Jenna Manahan. Ashley Padilla. Kate Siegel. There you go. Isabella Steffen. Isabella Tapas. And Mary Wislow. I do have two players that are also very big basketball stars, and they're playing right now in a state round game. It was Rachel Van Skyver and Maya Somerville. They're very big players in our team, and I think they deserve to be recognized as well. And this is my incredibly talented team, and I'm looking forward to so many more accomplishments to come. And I hope that you guys get a little intrigued and follow our games here and there. And hopefully I see them going to more county and state games, and hopefully you guys can make it out to them. All right. Thank you so much.
And coaches, if you join them up here for a picture, absolutely.
Are we good here?
Who's going to take the picture? Oh, okay. Okay. You want to take We can, yeah, go down.
Definitely cropped out. That's okay. That's fine. We're looking.
First time for all of us.
Thank you again.
Thank you.
Those are the extra. Yeah. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thanks.
So are we doing this? We're doing this first.
Yeah, we'll do this next. I'm gonna call Chief, Cheryl come up to the podium. Jeff, Jared will do the swearing in, and Jeff and Barbara will probably do any of the practice.
Okay. I just also wanted to mention that several of the girls on the team, many of them are Morris Township residents, so we're excited about that as well. That's nice because sometimes in the township here we share with everything with Morristown, but it's nice to recognize that we have some of our very own on the team as well. At this time, we are going to go into the promotional and swearing in ceremony with the Morris Township Police Department. Before we do that, I would like to recognize that Senator Anthony Bucco is here. We welcome you to the Township Committee meeting. So if I could have Chief Shear please come to the podium, and Attorney Jared Cantor will do the swearing in.
I want to thank everybody for coming out tonight for this joyous occasion for us, welcoming 3 new members into the Morris Township Police Department. I still hear some of the volleyball girls out there. I'm hoping they'll be applying to the police department in a few years after they come back from college. Always nice to see. Before we get started, I just want to kind of go over a statistic that had recently come out as far as auto thefts, which is something that you know is plaguing the entire state. Morris County has actually seen a 26% reduction in auto thefts. And we're the only county that's currently seeing a reduction in those crimes. And part of that reason is the men and women that are here today for the work they do day in and day out. And obviously also here to welcome our 3 new members. So just a round of applause for the work that they've been doing, and appreciate it. So every time we get to hire somebody new, and like I said, currently we are hiring, for me, it's kind of like a birthday. You think of all the great gifts you want to get, and you think of all the different characteristics you're looking in a gift. And these guys are like that for me. I'm finding all the characteristics that I want to see in a police officer that's here to serve Morris Township. And in the short time that we've had them, it's like I've opened up the gifts, and it was better than I ever could have imagined. The short time that they've been here, they really kind of showed what we saw in the interview and what we saw in their training before joining us. So we're super excited to have them. And I kind of give you a brief insight into kind of what their backgrounds were before they've come here to Morris Township to be a police officer. So first, I'd like to introduce Patrol Officer Ryan Carlin. Stand right over here, whatever works. Officer Carlin was hired by this agency in July of this year. Upon being hired, Patrolman Carlin entered the Morris County Police Academy's basic police recruit class and graduated on November 30th of 2023. Patrolman Carlin grew up in Chatham, where he graduated from Chatham High School. Upon his graduation, Officer Carlin continued his education at Widener University, where he obtained his bachelor's degree. While in the police academy, Officer Carlin was recognized by his fellow recruits as the Merit Award winner. So obviously not just something that we saw in him, but his fellow recruits also saw something as well. And that was something that they voted on, and he was recognized for that at his graduation. Patrolman Carlin comes to Morris Township with previous law enforcement experience as a patrol officer in Denver, Colorado, before deciding coming back home to the East Coast. Patrolman Carlin enjoys woodworking, skiing, and maintaining an active lifestyle through sports. And if you guys have the opportunity as residents, council people, I encourage you to have a conversation with Officer Carlin, just really a straight arrow, very kind, compassionate person, and really genuine in those conversations you have with him. So we're super excited to have him with us. And he's joined here today by his wife, Gabriella, his son, Jack, and the rest of his large family who came to see this special event. Mayor Guariglia and the Township Committee, I proudly present to you Officer Ryan Carlin. Who do you want to come up? Raise your right hand, put your left hand on your Bible.
You, Ryan Carlin, solemnly swear that you will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey, and will bear faith and allegiance to the same, and to the governments established in the United States and in this state, under the authority of the people, so help you God?
I do.
Repeat after me. I, Ryan Carlin,
I, Ryan Carlin,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully,
that I will faithfully,
impartially, and justly
impartially, and justly
perform all the duties
perform all the duties
of police officer
of police officer
of the Township of Morris Police Department
of the Township of Morris Police Department
according to the best of my ability,
according to the best of my ability.
so help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
I'll just leave it like that.
Ow. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Well done.
Congratulations.
Okay, I'll snap a couple pictures.
Go to the next one.
Yep.
We can stick the next one.
Next, I'd like to introduce Officer Chris Fearing. Obviously, every time I'm around Officer Fearing, I remember how short I've been my whole life. So it certainly has a presence. Patrolman Chris Fearing was hired by this agency in July of this year. Upon being hired, Patrolman Fearing entered the Essex County Police Academy's basic police recruit class and graduated on December 6, 2023. And again, this is rare. It's not going to sound like it's rare today because I'm saying it twice, but Officer Fearing also received the Merit Award for his, which was voted by his peers at the Essex County Police Academy. And as far as I can remember, it's the first Merit Award winners we've had that come through the Academy, at least as long as I've been here. And the fact that we had two is something that I'm really proud of. And again, look forward to the work they're both going to do. Officer Fearing grew up in Haskell, New Jersey, where he graduated from Lakeland Regional High School. Upon his graduation, Patrolman Fearing attended the County College of Morris and later entered the Air Force, rising to the rank of Senior Airman. Patrolman Fearing then attended Rowan University, where he obtained his bachelor's degree. Patrolman Fearing comes to Morris Township with a very diverse background, and this is one of my favorite things I didn't think I'd ever be able to say in this profession, but Patrolman Fearing started out his young adult life as a professional gamer, moved on to a senior airman, and now a patrol officer. Patrolman Fearing enjoys staying active through working out and playing sports. Patrolman Fearing is joined here today by his brother Jason and his mom Kathy. Mayor Guariglia and the Township Committee, I proudly present to you Patrol Officer Christopher Fearing. This is Officer Fearing's brother, is a cop in Jefferson.
Do you, Christopher Fearing, solemnly swear that you will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey, and will bear faith and allegiance to the same, and to the governments established in the United States and in this state, under the authority of the people, so help you God?
I do.
Repeat after me. I, Christopher Fearing,
I, Christopher Fearing,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully, impartially, and justly
impartially, and justly
perform all the duties of police officer
perform all the duties of police officer
of the Township of Morris Police Department
of the Township of Morris Police Department
according to the best of my ability,
according to the best of my ability.
so help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Okay, where does it go? Oh, right there.
One slot.
Got it. No, this,
Don't worry about getting it through.
All right,
You'll fix it
you
later,
can
yeah.
play with it.
It'll stick.
I guess
Very good.
congratulations again.
Thank you, sir.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Good, you.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
And last but certainly not least, Officer Samantha Nkuzi. I've been very excited for Officer Nkuzi to start her work here in Morris Township. From the day we interviewed her, I thought that she really had something special. But then there was about a week or so that I almost felt like I regretted, because everywhere I went, somebody came up to me and said, "Oh, you hired Sam? Sam's great." And as soon as somebody said, "Hey, I want to talk to you about somebody you hired," I knew immediately they were going to talk about Sam, and they were going to tell me what a great person she is. So already impacted plenty of people throughout her life that I know are super excited for her on this journey. So just to give you a quick background on Officer Sam here. Officer Samantha Nkuzi was hired by this agency in July of this year. Upon being hired, Patrol Officer Nkuzi entered the Morris County Police Academy's basic police recruit class and graduated on November 30th of 2023. Officer Nkuzi grew up in Jefferson, where she graduated from Jefferson High School. Upon graduation, Officer Nkuzi continued her education at William Patterson University, where she obtained her bachelor's degree. Officer Nkuzi came to Morris Township with a great passion to pursue a career in law enforcement, and it's something that has been evident from day one. Officer Nkuzi enjoys staying active through exercise and practicing jujitsu. So we already like to compare up with some of the guys here just to watch her give him a beating is one of our favorite things. So Officer Nkuzi is joined here today by her parents, her in-laws, and her husband, Tim. Mayor, Guariglia, and Township Committee, I proudly present to you Patrol Officer Samantha Nkuzi. Right behind you.
Do you, Samantha Nkuzi, solemnly swear that you will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey, and bear faith and allegiance to the same, and to the governments established in the United States and in this state, under the authority of the people, so help you God?
I do.
Repeat after me. I, Samantha Nkuzi,
I, Samantha Nkuzi,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully,
that I will faithfully,
impartially, and justly
impartially, and justly
perform all the duties of police officer
perform all the duties of the police officer
of the Township of Morris Police Department
of the Township of Morris Police Department
according to the best of my ability,
according to the best of my ability.
so help you God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Welcome. Congratulations.
I'd like to introduce next, or before I introduce members of the police committee next, I just want to say thank you for everybody that came out today. Officers off duty, working, coming in to join us in this special occasion. And also just thank you to the Township Committee for your continued support of the things we're able to go out and do in the community. So thanks again. And I'd like to turn it over to Committeeman Jeffery Grayzel, is also a member of the Police Standing Committee.
Thanks. Just so everybody knows how things run in our town, we have a 5-member township committee. The mayor gets nominated every year, so you might see a rotating mayor from year to year for the new people who are just coming on board. And we have an oversight. 2 people from the committee have oversight over different functional responsibilities in the municipality, and myself and Committeeman Bud Ravitz have oversight over the police department. So that's why we're up here tonight. Given the police ceremony that we're here for tonight, I think it's only appropriate that we first recognize the fallen police officers and firefighter that were lost a few days ago in Burnsville, Minnesota. These police officers were on the job responding to a domestic violence incident, and they were victims of more senseless gun violence in our country. And in their honor, I would like to ask everyone to rise for a moment of silence, if we could. Okay, thank you very much. Next, I'd like to acknowledge the retirement of Officer Carmen Piccolo after 23 years on our police force. I wanted to wish him well and thank him for his years of service to the force. All of us on the governing body appreciate all that he's done for our municipality. Now that the next generation of police officers are entering our ranks, we're here to celebrate that occasion. For those who have previously had the opportunity to listen to my commentary from the dais in this room, you know that I am an ardent supporter of our police department. I regularly remind the public of the responsibilities our officers have and that you come to work every day to put your lives on the line to protect our community, and that one never knows when a routine traffic stop might turn bad, or in the case of what happened in Minnesota, responding to a domestic violence incident. So we are grateful, very grateful for the responsibility that you've chosen to take on here in our town. You're an integral part of the community, not only protecting our residents, but also being a critical resource for residents, both to educate them and to assist those in need. And on behalf of the entire governing body, I would like to thank all of the officers here and the command staff in our police department for all their fine work. All of you make us proud each and every day. Officer Christopher Fearing, Officer Ryan Carlin, Officer Samantha Nacuzzi, welcome to Morris Township. We have a professional and proud force in our town, and we expect you to uphold that professionalism each and every day. And we hope that you will carry that with pride, with you when you're out in the community. I urge you to get to know the residents by introducing yourself around town. I always encourage our officers to get out of their cars and say hello to residents in the parks, at a baseball game if you stop by, or if you even see just somebody walking their dog in the street. Just say hello, get to know our residents, and let them get to know you. And please always be compassionate when it's warranted. Remember that everyone has good days and bad days. We all make mistakes, some out of neglect, some because we're not thinking things through properly. And I personally believe that most people can learn from their errors. So while a summons might be in order, in many cases, sometimes a simple warning is all that's needed. So use your best judgment when you're out in those situations. Good luck to all three of you. And on behalf of the governing body, we wish each of you a long and prosperous career here in Morris Township. Thank you.
I can almost read this. Ladies and gentlemen, it's hard to expand upon, what my colleague has said, so I'll go in my own way and keep in mind that Jeff's words were very profound. We're gathered here to congratulate and celebrate a group of remarkable individuals: Officer Christopher Fearing, Officer Ryan Carlin, and Officer Samantha Nacuzzi. They have chosen a path of service, dedication, and sacrifice. It is with great pride and joy that we extend our heartfelt congratulations to our newest police officers and officially welcome them to Morris Township. Embarking on a career in law enforcement is no small feat. It requires a unique blend of courage, integrity, and a profound sense of duty. Today, we stand witness to a group of individuals who have embraced these qualities wholeheartedly. As they step into the noble profession of policing here in Morris Township, we can't help but be filled with admiration for the commitment that they have displayed throughout their rigorous training. In a world that often presents complex challenges and evolving uncertainties, these officers have undergone extensive preparation to uphold the principles of justice, protect our community, and maintain public order. Their dedication to the well-being of society is both commendable and inspiring. It is crucial to acknowledge the sacrifices that come with the badge, the long hours, the inherent risks, and the emotional toll of facing the unknown. These officers have not only accepted these challenges, but have embraced them with a sense of purpose that sets them apart. Their willingness to stand on the front lines, to be the guardians of our community, deserves our deepest respect and gratitude. As they took their oath today, let us not only congratulate them, but also pledge our unwavering support. Policing is a collective effort, and our newest 3 officers, Christopher, Ryan, and Samantha, will rely on the guidance and the encouragement of their fellow officers, their mentors, and the communities they serve. Together, let us foster an environment that nurtures their growth, provides them with the tools they need, and encourages the spirit of camaraderie. To our newest members of the Morris Township law enforcement family, your journey is just beginning. May you face each challenge with the same determination that brought you here today. As you embark on this noble calling, may you always remember that you have the support of not just your colleagues, but the entire community that believes in the principles that you uphold. Congratulations, and may your careers be marked by compassion, fairness, and unwavering commitment to the service of others.
Thank you to Chief Shear, and thank you to Deputy Mayor Grayzel and Committeeman Bud Ravitz, who are on our Police Standing Committee, for your words. I'd also like to, at this time, thank the families of our new officers for all the support you gave them along the way to help them achieve their goals and become part of the Morris Township Police Department. At this time, we would like to have the police retire the colors.
Order, arm, right, face, forward, march.
We will now have a 5-minute recess. The time is 7:32, so we'll be back here at 7:37. Thank you.
There you go. I'll do it.
And where is Siva? Siva, committee.
It's like having kids.
It's like herding cats. I call this regular meeting of the Township Committee of the Township of Morris this Wednesday, February 21st, 2024, back to order. The time is now 7:39. We have 2 proclamations this evening, and the first one, we are going to recognize the growing problem of anti-Semitism in America. And this will be read into the record by Township Committeeman Bud Ravitz.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, everybody, once again. Before I begin, I just want to recognize the fact that Assemblywoman Ora Dunn could not be here. She sends her regrets, and she thought that this occasion so important that she did send her legislative aide, James Costanza, here to represent her office. So thank you for coming for that. All right. So once again, ladies and gentlemen, esteemed guests and residents of our community, and those who have come from other communities, these opening remarks are my public commentary this evening. So I ask my colleagues to indulge me as I go a little bit out of order. My colleagues and I felt it necessary to create and read into the public record a proclamation against anti-Semitism. It's disheartening that we find this necessary in the 21st century. I want you all to know that my remarks and the proclamation have nothing to do with U.S. politics or the politics of any other nation. Neither are they a statement about U.S. foreign policy or any policy of any other nation. Anti-Semitism transcends individual beliefs and affiliations, and it speaks to the very core of our shared commitment to justice, equality, and human dignity. The subject at hand is the pressing need for an anti-Semitism proclamation, a collective statement that unequivocally condemns the rising tide of hatred and discrimination against the Jewish community. We are united in the belief that every individual deserves to live free from discrimination and prejudice. In recent years, we have witnessed a disturbing resurgence of anti-Semitic incidents around the world, from verbal attacks and discriminatory practices to acts of violence and desecration of synagogues. The alarming reality is that anti-Semitism persists as a pervasive force, undermining the principles of tolerance and diversity that form the bedrock of our democratic societies. This is a matter which demands our collective attention and unwavering dedication to combating hatred in all its forms. Anti-Semitism, a historic and persistent prejudice, continues to cast a dark shadow on our global community. It's an affront to the principles of humanity and a challenge to the values that bind us as a society. The historical backdrop of anti-Semitism is marked by centuries of persecution, discrimination, outrageous lies, and unspeakable atrocities. While we may hope that such dark chapters belong to the past, the unfortunate truth is that anti-Semitism has found new expressions and manifestations in the modern era. Its persistence is a dark reminder that the fight against hatred is an ongoing struggle. The proclamation we are about to hear is not merely a statement of condemnation. It's a declaration of our refusal to stand idly by in the face of discrimination, bigotry, and intolerance. It's a commitment to fostering an environment where all individuals, regardless of their background, can thrive without fear of persecution. An anti-Semitism proclamation serves not only as a symbolic denouncement of prejudice, but also as a practical tool to raise awareness and educate our communities. By formally acknowledging the urgency of this matter, we send a powerful message that we refuse to tolerate bigotry in any form. As we listen to the words of the proclamation, let us reflect on the lessons of history and the atrocities committed against the Jewish people. Let us remember the importance of standing together against hate, prejudice, and discrimination. In the spirit of unity, let us reaffirm our dedication to creating a world where diversity is celebrated and every person is treated with dignity and respect. By acknowledging and addressing anti-Semitism, we not are only safeguarding the well-being of the Jewish community, but also reinforce the foundation of a society that values the inherent worth of every individual. This proclamation serves as a powerful reminder that our commitment to justice requires continued vigilance and active engagement. Moreover, an anti-Semitism proclamation underscores our collective responsibility to safeguard the values of pluralism, religious freedom, and mutual respect. As we consider the need for this proclamation, let us be clear. Our commitment to combating anti-Semitism is not a solitary endeavor. It is part of a broader commitment to fostering a world where all people can coexist harmoniously. Just as anti-Semitism threatens the Jewish community, it erodes the very fabric of our shared humanity and diminishing us all. In conclusion, let us remember the words of Elie Wiesel, Holocaust survivor and Nobel laureate, who said, "The opposite of love is not hate, it's indifference. By coming together to address anti-Semitism head-on, we reject the indifference and reaffirm our dedication to building a world that upholds the dignity and worth of every individual. Together, we can build a world where the principles of tolerance and acceptance triumph over hatred, and the flame of justice illuminates the path for generations to come. Rabbi Shimon ben Halafta said, "The Blessed Holy One found no vessel which could hold Israel's blessing except shalom. For it is written, may the Lord grant his people strength. May the Lord bless his people with shalom. To that I amend that all people should be granted peace. Baruch Hashem." I'll now read the proclamation, after which I will invite each of our guest speakers to offer their remarks. Recognizing the growing problem of anti-Semitism in America. Whereas the principles of equality, tolerance, and respect for diversity are fundamental to the foundations of a just and compassionate society. And whereas history bears witness to the devastating consequences of hatred, discrimination, and persecution based on religious beliefs, particularly the heinous crimes committed against the Jewish people during the Holocaust. And whereas anti-Semitism persists as a grave threat to the principles of human rights and the dignity of individuals, undermining the fabric of harmonious coexistence. And whereas recognizing the importance of fostering a society that values inclusivity, understanding, appreciation, and the rich tapestry of cultures and faiths that contribute to our shared humanity. And whereas it is incumbent upon us to unite in our commitment to combat all forms of discrimination and prejudice and actively work towards eradicating anti-Semitism from our communities. Now, therefore, be proclaimed that we condemned unequivocally all acts of anti-Semitism, including hate speech, discrimination, and violence directed against individuals or communities based on their Jewish identity. We reaffirm our dedication to upholding the principles of religious freedom and ensuring the right of every individual to practice their faith without fear of persecution. We support education and awareness programs that foster understanding, tolerance, and respect for diverse cultures, religions, and backgrounds, with a particular emphasis on the history and impact of anti-Semitism. We encourage collaboration between government agencies, civil society organizations, educational institutions, and religious communities to develop strategies and initiatives aimed at preventing and countering anti-Semitism. We call upon leaders at all levels of society to use their influence to promote a culture of inclusivity where diversity is celebrated and discrimination is not tolerated. We express our solidarity with the Jewish community and stand united in the pursuit of a world where every individual, regardless of their faith, can live free from fear, prejudice, and hatred. In witness whereof, we, the undersigned, declare this proclamation against anti-Semitism, affirming our commitment to building a world that embraces diversity, fosters understanding, and values the inherent dignity of every human being. And with that, I'd like, thank you. And with that, I'd like to invite up our first guest speaker, Associate Director of the American Jewish Committee, Danielle Cohen-Schrager.
Thank you for having me here tonight and for this important proclamation. It is truly heartwarming to hear the Township affirm its opposition to discrimination and bigotry, and specifically to acknowledge that anti-Semitism is a problem in society today. The American Jewish Committee, AJC, recently released our 2023 State of Antisemitism in America survey results. And I'd like to highlight just a few statistics for you that demonstrate just how needed this proclamation is. I should note that our field work for this survey first began on October 5th, 2023. But after Hamas's October 7th attacks in Israel, we worked with our contracted research firm to pull the survey, revise it, and then launch it again on October 17th. Our survey focuses on the impacts of anti-Semitism, how it's viewed by Jews and the general public, and what happens when anti-Semitism infects our society. Learning about who commits active Jewish hatred is important, but we also need to shine a light on how anti-Semitism has a corrosive effect on all of society. What did we find? Nearly 9 in 10 Jews and the general population believe anti-Semitism is a serious problem. In fact, in just 1 year, there has been a 12 percentage point increase in U.S. adults who say anti-Semitism is a very serious problem. 36% of young American Jews aged 18 to 29 were the personal target of anti-Semitism in the last 12 months, compared to 22% over the age of 30. And lastly, one of our more significant findings, 63% of American Jews said the status of Jews in the U.S. is less secure than a year ago, more than a 20% point increase in just 1 year and a 30 percentage point increase in 2 years. The number one reason given for feeling this way is the Hamas-Israel war. So I want to thank you again for taking the steps to recognize and address anti-Semitism in Morris Township.
I'd like to invite our second speaker, President of the Jewish Federation of Greater Metro West New Jersey, Michael Goldberg.
Thank you very much, everybody, and for the courage and putting forth this proclamation. It's not easy to do. Not all towns have had the courage to do it. It is a little, especially at this point in time, a little bit of not a conflict, but it's a divided society, which you don't want to talk about. But it unfortunately, that's where we are. I just want to mention my grandfather, Philip Mandelbaum of blessed memory, grew up in Poland and emigrated to the United States when he was about 12 years old in the late 1920s. And one of the reasons he left Poland at that time was the fact that as a young man, when he used to come home from school, kids used to throw rocks at him. Anti-Semitism has existed for 100 years, more than 100 years, and has shown its ugly head many times. So it's not something to be taken lightly that hasn't existed, but you know, we all have to deal with issues that come forth before this, but the first thing is to recognize it. So that's why I appreciate your remarks. And I don't want to be duplicative because you did a great job in talking about the history, but I was always learned to be additive. So my grandfather always told me a lot of stories, which I was mentioning to you, is you don't need to be friends with everybody, but you don't need to have enemies. It's very important that you're able to walk down the street and say hello to everybody and not have to walk on the other side of the street. And some of the stories from myself is, the fact is, I grew up originally in Orange and then in Livingston, and I live in a very diverse neighborhood. And there's a family that moved in, this was 15 years ago, that moved in next to me, the Shaws. And I was driving home from work one night. My wife says to me, she says, we're going out to dinner with the Shaws tonight. And I said, the Shaws, what do we have in common with the Shaws? You know, different ethnic background, different religion. And so we ended up going out to dinner with them 15 years ago. And ever since then, we've been great friends. He has more of a sense of humor than I do. He has a better understanding of life. It's, you know, important that, as you were mentioning, that we should educate ourselves, understand each other, and especially at the Jewish Federation, that's part of what we're doing, is educating about the history of each other, ethnic groups, and doing that, especially through our synagogues and other institutions. So that's really a very important part of understanding and learning where we've come from to understand why anti-Semitism and other issues are so important to address and keep in front of us. So The last thing I want to say is why this is so important to me is the fact that my grandfather always told me the most important thing in life is peace of mind, that you should be able to go to sleep every night and sleep peacefully, that you shouldn't have to worry about growing up in a community that is divided. We should grow up in a community that gets along. And that's how I look at this proclamation, is the fact that it sounds easy, we should all get along, but we should get along. There's nothing, we live in the same community, we should all get along. And that's really what I enjoy about listening to what you, this council and mayor have put forth tonight, is the ability for us to recognize an issue and to move forward and hopefully address it in a community setting. And I appreciate everything you've done. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'd like to invite up our next speaker, Senator Anthony Bucco of the New Jersey Legislative District number 25.
Thank you. It is certainly an honor for me to be here tonight, and I want to commend the Township Committee for taking this action. Unfortunately, hatred and anti-Semitism is growing in our neighborhoods, but it's programs like tonight that shed the light on this problem. And you cannot dispel the darkness of hatred without that light and education. And that's what tonight is all about shedding that light. It's about giving each of you that little candle to take home to your neighborhoods, to remind your neighbors and your friends of what's most important: hope and love. That's what's most important. You know, no one is born to hate. No one is born to hate. People have to be taught to hate. And it is incumbent upon all of us to make sure that we choose our words wisely, that we teach our children and grandchildren the difference between right and wrong, and love and hate. You know, there is more that unites us as a society than divides us. And that's what we need to concentrate on. What is important to each of us to share with one another. We are so blessed here in Morris County and in Morris Township to have the Rabbinical College. Rabbi Herson is here. Our families, 2 generations now, have supported each other and been there for each other. That is the example to set. When my father, my late father, was a freeholder many years ago, Rabbi Herson came and said, there are no sidewalks for us to walk, to go and worship. And my father took it upon himself with the rest of the freeholders to make sure that sidewalks were installed so that people could safely get to and from the college. No one should have to worship or live in fear. And we're blessed here too to have a great sheriff, Sheriff Gannon, Jimmy Gannon. Sheriff and I are good friends. We went to school together. And even before the horrific day of October 7th, the sheriff has made sure that each one of our houses of worship, including the Rabbinical College, has routine patrols. Because while we hope and we pray that we never have to witness a horrific act or an anti-Semitic act close to home, we can't take it for granted that it's not going to happen. We have to be prepared. And I talk to the sheriff about this often. The sheriff and I go up for lunch every once in a while to the Rabbinical College to break bread and talk about the needs of that wonderful place. Students from all over the world coming in to learn, to dedicate their lives to faith, and then graduate and go out. That's happening right here. That's happening right here in Morris Township and in Morris County. And it is a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful example for all of us to recognize. Wonderful example for all of us to recognize. So I say this to anyone out there that may think that they are going to perpetrate an anti-Semitic act, think twice. Because the law enforcement officers you saw here tonight, the sheriff's officers that you see, and some that you don't, are out there. And they're paying attention. And if you commit that act, I can assure you that you will be caught, you will be prosecuted to the full extent of the law. Because we have no place in our communities for those type of acts. So I want to thank you tonight for the courage to put this proclamation forward, because it does start the ball. And hopefully the other municipalities around us in Morris County will follow suit. Amen. Because like that little drip into the pond that starts the circles going out, that's what we really need. We really need. You know, in my faith, they say the pastor preaches to the choir. Preaches to the choir. Why? Because he wants the choir to sing. Wants the choir to sing. So I think what the committee is asking for everyone here tonight, and anyone who is listening, to go out there and sing. Talk about what you heard tonight. Talk to your children, your grandchildren, your neighbors. Let it be known that the right way to act is with love and with hope. Thank you, and God bless you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you, Senator, for those incredible, stirring words. Before I read a prepared statement from Congresswoman Mikey Sherrill's office, I will ask you that if I'm done reading this, we have some proclamations that we're going to hand out. I'd like to be able to offer that to our speakers tonight. And also, if you would please gather around up front and center for a group picture. So, Senator, if you don't mind hanging out another minute or two. All right, so let me read a prepared statement from Congresswoman Sherrill's office. Congresswoman Sherrill wishes she could be here tonight, but she sent this statement to read on her behalf. I know that the Jewish community in New Jersey and across the world is suffering from unfathomable pain, sorrow, and fear after the horrific atrocities committed by Hamas terrorists on October 7. And I know that this pain continues 4 months in, as many hostages still remain in Gaza. And I want each of you to know that my heart is with you during this time of unimaginable grief. The current war has fomented a disgusting and inexcusable rise in anti-Semitism throughout our state and country. It is alarming to see this even in our schools, with heightened reports of anti-Semitic and Islamophobic bullying. From my beginning of my time in Congress, I have been a member of the House Bipartisan Task Force on Combating Anti-Semitism, where we've worked across party lines to address the spread of anti-Semitism at home and abroad. Following Hamas's attack on October 7, I voted for a resolution to stand with Israel in defending itself against Hamas, voted for a resolution to condemn anti-Semitism on college campuses, voted for a resolution calling for the release of all hostages held by Hamas, and voted for a resolution reaffirming Israel's right to exist. After hearing the disturbing and woefully inadequate congressional testimony of some university presidents, I reached out to all the presidents and colleges of colleges and universities here in New Jersey, urging them to take concrete action to protect students and asking for their specific plans. While I received many thoughtful responses from the university leadership, it's clear that this must remain a constant priority and more must be done to ensure that all students feel safe and welcome on campuses. I want to thank the Morris Township Committee for taking this issue of anti-Semitism so seriously, and Committeeman Ravitz for bringing forth his proclamations. Actions like this one bring solace to our communities. And that concludes tonight. I would ask our speakers to come up. Senator, come on up for a picture. And let me present you with a copy of the proclamation. Come on to the front.
Oh, hi.
Standing by Committeeman Ravitz.
Stories in order to remember things that you do, and you remember things, but you remember things in a better way than you do by saying, don't do that.
Thanks so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. Thank you so
Whatever you need on the other side. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Honoree at the.
Okay. Just checking how many people we have on. No, we're not taking a break. No. How many? Same. At this time, I would first like to acknowledge and thank Committeeman Ravitz for all your hard work on the proclamation. It's very much appreciated by all of us. And would also like to recognize our honored guests and everybody who's here and let you know that not only does the township recognize the growing problem of anti-Semitism, but we also want to work hard to find solutions to ending anti-Semitism. So thank you all for being here. We appreciate it very much. At this time, our second proclamation is recognizing February as Black History Month. I just have a couple comments I want to make. We note in our proclamation that as far back as 1915, the Association for the Study of African American Life and History was founded. In 1926, Black History Week was initiated in February, and then in 1976, the month of February was dedicated Black History Month, celebrating the contributions, experiences, and many achievements of our African Americans. The theme this year is African Americans and the Arts. African American art covers African, Caribbean, and Black American lived experiences. The influence in our culture through all fields, including literature, fashion, folklore, craft, film, music, architecture, and culinary expressions, has been paramount. Although for centuries, Western intellectuals minimized and ignored African American contributions, not only to art, but to history as well, we came to acknowledge and celebrate their contributions. Blues musicians such as McKinley, Muddy Waters, Morganfield, and Riley B.B. King created a style of music that became the bedrock for gospel, soul, and other popular evolving forms of music. In 1973, hip hop was formed and continues to be a force in political, social, and cultural spaces. There is a richness that continues to this day that we should all be thankful for. Right here at St. Elizabeth University all month, there's been a presentation at the Teresa A. Maloney Art Gallery called The Ties That Bind, How Race Relations Shaped Morris County and New Jersey from 1688 to 2018. The exhibit is on loan from the Sankofa Heritage Collective of Morris County and explores over 300 years of race relations in the Morris County area. It was organized by Bethel Church and Reverend Dr. Sidney Williams Jr., the pastor of Bethel Church, who was a driving force behind the exhibit. So if you get a chance, it's there until February 29th, and you should really go see it. Are there any other committee members who have any comments they want to make before we move on?
Just want to add, I did ask them the resolution to change Frederick Douglass's birth year from 1817 to 1818, mainly because the slave records were inconclusive, and 1818 was the year that Frederick Douglass himself had calculated as his birth date. And just to note that he chose February 14th because he wasn't sure of the exact date, because his slave mother called him my Valentine. And so in honor of her memory, he said February 14th was his birth date. Thanks.
Thank you, Committeeman Jonnada. And like I said, it's always great to have our historian make sure that we have everything factual.
Mayor?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I also want to acknowledge that.
There we go. Thank you. I also want to acknowledge the fact that we have a couple of rabbis here. Obviously, the rabbis that are at the Rabbinical College, they're all Morris Township residents because that's where they reside. But we have several other rabbis that were here in the audience tonight that are residents of Morris Township. Not only do they lead the congregations, but they're residents. We have Rabbi Nesson, who's a Rabbi Emeritus from Morristown Jewish Center. Rabbi Amy Small here is also a Morris Township resident. And we had Rabbi Satz from Temple B'nai Or, who's also a Morris Township resident. So not only do they lead the congregations, but they do reside in our municipality. So I think it's a little extra special for them.
Definitely. Thank you very much for being here. Thank you, Deputy Mayor. The next thing on the agenda is the approval of the minutes. May I have a motion to approve the minutes from November 8th, 2023, from December 4th, 2023, and from December 20th, 23?
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
We now come to the public commentary section of our meeting, the first public commentary. There are currently 6 members of the public joining us on Zoom. At this time, we will open the meeting to the public comment. We'll take comments from in-person attendees first, and then we'll switch over to Zoom. Please virtually raise your hand in Zoom to indicate you would like to speak. Please state your name and address for the record before speaking. Please note that comments are limited to 5 minutes per speaker. If you have questions you would like answered, your remaining time to speak will be yielded back for this purpose. Is there a motion to open the public comment?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Are there any members from the public who would like to speak? Are there any, oh, I'm sorry.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I'm Dan McGuire. I'm CEO of Homeless Solutions with our shelter at 540 West Hanover Avenue in Morris Township. We're the largest shelter in Morris County with 86 beds, and during the winter, 18 more in a winter warming center for street homeless. On January 27th, we had a fire in our shelter. A small refrigerator in the warming center that was used to store a guest's insulin malfunctioned and caught fire. Fortunately, it was in the afternoon and nobody was in the warming center yet and nobody was hurt. The alarms set off a massive multi-town response, and primary of which was the fast and substantial mobilization by Morris Township Fire, the police department, I'm sorry they had to leave, and the Morris Minutemen. When I arrived on the scene, it was filled with fire trucks
and other vehicles. There were firemen coming and going out of every door, and emergency personnel providing warmth and comfort to many of the guests in our program who had to evacuate the building for 2 hours. I was incredibly heartened by the response and grateful to the professionalism that was on full display. This also includes the Morris Township Health Administrator driving over on her day off to inspect our kitchen, which was on the same level as the fire in the warming center, and certified by the township, and to tell us what we needed to do to get it back online. Everyone was just fantastic. We've spent most of our 40-year history in Morris Township in the building at 540 West Hanover, and I'd like to think that's a point of pride for the township. Our shelter is an important, life-changing facility for many individuals and families, but I also know that it does generate many calls to the emergency service providers in the town, none bigger than the one on January 27th. So I'm here on behalf of our Board of Trustees, our staff, and our guests to say thank you to the emergency service providers and to the township. We're really grateful for the partnership, and thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. McGuire. We always appreciate when somebody does acknowledge, steps up, and we know how great we have everybody here is in the township, but it's especially nice of you to come and notice it as well. Thank you very much.
Mayor,
Yes.
could I also thank Mr. McGuire for the work that you do in the community. You support a lot of people here, and we appreciate all that you and your staff do for us. Thank you.
I don't see any hands raised.
No, ma'am.
Seeing no other members of the public wishing to speak, will someone make a motion to close the public comment?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
We have two ordinances for public hearing and adoption on tonight's agenda. Madam Clerk, please read the title of the first ordinance into the record, and we will then open the public hearing.
Ordinance 0124, bond ordinance providing for $1,130,000 by the Township of Morris, appropriating $1,130,000, therefore including various grants in the aggregated amount of $1,130,000 expected to be received, and authorizing the issuance of $500,000 bonds or notes of the township to finance part of the cost thereof. Grant funding appropriation for Collinsville Tucker renovation project.
We will take comments from in-person attendees first, and then we'll switch over to Zoom. Please virtually raise your hand in Zoom.
Open.
No, we have a motion to open public.
Opening the public.
Okay.
Mayor, you need a motion to open public.
Mayor, I'll make a motion.
Okay. Okay, may I make thank you. Is there a second? All those in favor?
Aye.
So we will now take comments from in-person attendees first and then switch over to Zoom. Please virtually raise your hand in Zoom to indicate if you would like to speak. Okay, sorry about that. Is there anybody who would like to speak? Seeing no hands raised in Zoom, may I have a motion to close public comment?
So moved. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
May I have a motion to adopt number 01-24?
So moved. Second.
Is there any discussion or questions?
Mayor, I'd just like to make a comment that this is a continued process to get the reconstruction project of Collinsville Tucker Playground underway. I believe the total amounts that we'll be paying for this project is over $2 million, and that's a mix of federal, $1 million in federal money, over $500,000 in state funding, and over $500,000 in municipal funding. This is a really important project for the township. It's a long time coming, and I'm really excited that we've been able to have a blend of funding from the federal, state, and local level. This is something we've been aspiring towards for a long time, and I'm glad it's been able to come to fruition.
Thank you, Committeeman Gyorfy, and again, thank you for all your hard work in getting that done.
I'll second that.
Madam Clerk, may I have a roll call?
Mr. Gyorfy,
Yes.
Mr. Grayzel,
Yes.
Mr. Jonnada,
Yes.
Mr. Ravitz.
Yes.
Mayor Guariglia.
Yes. I, Donna J. Guariglia, Mayor, declare ordinance number 01-24 approved and adopted and direct the Township Clerk to publish proper notice thereof in the official newspaper. Madam Clerk, please read the title of the second ordinance into the record for public hearing and adoption, and we will then open the public hearing.
Ordinance 0224, an ordinance of the Township Committee of the Township of Morris, authorizing the purchase of that certain property known as Block 901, Lot 6 in the Township of Morris, County of Morris, State of New Jersey. Note, purchase of State School 15 Jean Street.
We will take comments from in-person attendees first and then switch over to Zoom. May I have a motion to open the public hearing on ordinance 02-24? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Is there anybody from the public who would like to speak? Seeing no hands raised on Zoom, may I have a motion to close the public comment? Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
May I have a motion to adopt ordinance number 02-24?
Second.
Is there any other discussion or questions?
Again, Mayor, if I will, this is a huge step forward for the township. I know every single member of this governing body supports this effort to transition the former state school into a community center. This is going to take several years to come to fruition, but we're fortunate to be able to kind of follow what we've learned from doing the Collinsville project and learning from that to try to get federal, state, county, and municipal funding for this project. This is going to take years to put together, but we know we have the backing not only of this governing body, but of our community to do this. And I have all the confidence that we'll be able to get this done in the coming years. It's a very exciting project.
Okay. Yes.
And just to piggyback on what Mark was saying, this is part of the visioning process. As he had stated, this is something that's going to take quite a number of years and multi-million dollars, and we're going to be looking for funds, under rocks wherever we can find it. But it is incumbent upon, your governing body to vision and see and have that foresight to say that, okay, well, maybe we won't be here when it's done, but some other governing body will be able, and the residents will be able to benefit from what we're doing here today. So I applaud this purchase. I think and I applaud the vision of the township committee members for moving forward with this project.
Thank you. Deputy Mayor Grayzel.
Thank you. I also want to acknowledge the help that Senator Bucco provided in helping us get to this point. He was here earlier supporting Morris Township, and he has been here before supporting Morris Township. And I just wanted to acknowledge his role in this process.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, may I have a roll call vote?
Mr. Gyorfy.
Yes.
Mr. Ravitz.
Yes.
Mr. Grayzel.
Yes.
Mr. Jonnada.
Yes.
Mayor Guariglia.
Yes. I, Donna J. Guariglia, Mayor, declare ordinance number 02-24 approved and adopted and direct the Township Clerk to publish proper notice thereof in the official newspaper. We have two ordinances for introduction on tonight's agenda. Madam Clerk, please read the title of the first ordinance into the record.
Ordinance 03-24, an ordinance of the Township of Morris, County of Morris, concerning salaries for non-union personnel.
May I have a motion to introduce ordinance number 03-24?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Is there any discussion or any questions?
Mayor, you need a roll call vote on that.
Oh, I'm sorry. May I have a roll call vote?
Mr. Grayzel.
Yes.
Mr. Gyorfy.
Yes.
Mr. Jonnada.
Yes.
Mr. Ravitz.
Yes.
Mayor Guariglia.
Yes. The public hearing and final consideration and adoption of ordinance number 03-24 will be held at the next regular Township Committee meeting on Wednesday, March 20th, 2024 at 7:00 p.m. Madam Clerk, please read the title of the second ordinance into the record.
Ordinance 04-24, an ordinance of the Township of Morris, Morris County, New Jersey, concerning salaries for non-union personnel, Fire Department.
And Committeeman Gyorfy will recuse himself due to his role in the Fire Department. May I have a motion to introduce ordinance number 04-24?
So moved.
Second.
Madam Clerk, may I have a roll call vote?
Mr. Jonnada,
Yes.
Mr. Grayzel,
Yes.
Mr. Gyorfy recused, Mr. Ravitz.
Yes.
Mayor Griglia.
Yes. The public hearing and final consideration and adoption of ordinance number 04-24 will be held at the next regular Township Committee meeting on Wednesday, March 20th, 2024 at 7 p.m. We have 30 resolutions on tonight's agenda. May I have a motion to approve resolution numbers 57-24 through 86-24 by one motion?
I move that we adopt them in block.
Second.
Madam Clerk, may I have a roll call vote?
Mr. Grayzel,
Yes.
Mr. Ravitz.
Yes.
Mr. Gyorfy. Mr. Jonnada.
Yes.
Mayor Guariglia.
Yes. Next, we have our consent calendar. We have 6 items on the consent calendar this evening. Can I have a motion to approve the items on the consent calendar by one motion?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So I gotta jump in here and do the discussion for the grant. What's on your agenda?
Okay.
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 You okay?
Yes. Administrator Quinn.
Thank you, Mayor. The Township of Morris wishes to make a grant application to the Morris County Community Development Block Grant Program. This program is funded by the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development. We are looking to submit a grant application towards the purchase of 15 Jean Street. The governing body just adopted the ordinance to do so. The cost of that is $580,000. It is desired of the township to make the grant application in the amount of $125,000 towards that acquisition. This application is due by the end of February, and at that time we hope to then present our application to the committee that reviews the application, hopefully get funding to assist us with this project. One of the major reasons we're also doing it is that we also know that once we do the acquisition, the school that we're purchasing is in need of a lot of improvements, and it's probably going to cost several $1 million to bring it up to the standards we want for our community to use, especially our seniors, and also using it for a community center and recreation center. With that, that is my report on it.
Thank you, Mr. Quinn. Next, we have the consideration of monthly reports. We have received reports for December 2023 from Police, Fire, and Tax, and January 2024 from Fire, Police, and the Morris Township Library. Can I have a motion to approve the monthly reports?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Claims for payment, the list of bills and vouchers. The total amount of bills and vouchers for this meeting is $14,497,801.63. We are also the tax collector for the school district, the library, and the county. May I have a motion to approve the list of bills and vouchers?
So moved.
Second.
Madam Clerk, may I have a roll call vote?
Mr. Grayzel,
Yes.
Mr. Gyorfy.
Yes.
Mr. Jonnada.
Yes.
Mr. Ravitz.
Yes.
Mayor Guariglia.
Yes. We have received for the record the Senior Citizens Advisory Committee 2023 end of year report, the Cannabis Advisory Board final report, January 30th, 2024, and the annual report of collection 2023. We have 2 tax appeals. Do I read these, Tim? And at this time, we'll go to our standing committee reports and commentary by the Township Committee. And we'll start with Committeeman Jonnada.
Thank you, Mayor. First, I wanted to mention that there are so many, a variety of events just in this meeting today, and how it just shows how diverse our community is, and just I'm just amazed about that, and I'm glad that we have made it past the resolutions, the proclamations that we did today for anti-Semitism and for Black History Month, and last month for Muslim Heritage Month. But I just also wanted to say, since it's now my full month, second month of being here, my first official event as a member of the Township Committee was attending Representative Mikey Sherrill's forum on the importance of native plants, which took place at the Great Swamp Education Center in Chatham. She had sponsored a bill designating native plants to be planted at all federal facilities, and the co-sponsors were members of both parties. Plus, the bill was passed unanimously, which is quite unusual in our current Congress, and it was just something amazing to do that. And I think also we should have something similar for state, county, and local levels, and in the planting of native plants. And just to also plug that the Great Swamp Native Plant Sale will be held in April. I think I've participated in that for the last couple of years, and so have many other people. And I've also attended the Morris Township Historical Preservation Committee. Not that it was on my portfolio, but it's something I was interested in. And they had sent out letters to residents of homes designated as being historically significant. It's for a contest to designate historic homes of the year. And they have a poster where they showed the 5 homes that have won in the past. And I encourage any local resident who got those letters to participate. And also the Environmental Commission held a poster contest for food waste held for grade school and middle school and students at the local schools. The winners were awarded ribbons at this month's EC meeting, and the posters will be on display at Town Hall. And just this past weekend, I had attended a premiere of Travels with Darley, the Revolutionary Road Trip at the Morris Museum this past Sunday. It showed Revolutionary era sites in the Morristown area. It was entertaining and fascinating to see the different sites. There was 3 different episodes. The first episode was on the 10 crucial days of Washington's Crossing, Trenton, and Princeton. And the second was the Morristown area. Also, I found out the different places to have a drink. And this program will be aired in PBS mid-March. And this is all part of the preparation of the 250th anniversary of America's birth in 2026. And also as a plug, Bethel AME Church annual cleanup will be taking place in March 16th, rain date March 23rd in Morristown. It is going to be co-sponsored by the Whippany River Watershed Action Committee, as well as the Morris County Historical Society, mainly because they're going to engage with the cleanup of the original site of the church on Spring Street. And so we're just combining the 2 events together. And as I mentioned, I was going to talk a little bit about the history of the area. I'm going to talk a little bit about Speedwell Village. I think last year we went on Transportation Advisory Committee had a walk, and one part of the walk was going to Speedwell Village, where the host talked about what happened there, which was the invention of the telegraph. And I think most people, I hope, are familiar with it, and because that was where Samuel Morse had tested the telegraph, and the local hero Alfred Vail was also there. We actually have a school named after him, and not Samuel Morse. But Samuel Morse was not an engineer. He was a professor of fine arts at New York University, alma mater. He was also a tinkerer and was interested in electronic telegraphy, using batteries, and just was testing it out. He was not the only one, but he was the most successful. He recruited Alfred Vail, who was a student of his, and when they needed more room, Vail suggested his family home in the country, and Morristown was the country. So they started testing the device at Speedwell Iron Works, and the first public display was in 1838. And the first words were, "A patient waiter is no loser." The site can still be visited at Speedwell Village, but whenever I drive by there, I always see the parking lot empty. And I hope, I encourage people to go see, because that was where the communications revolution began. Because without that, we would not have all the technology, including the cell phone here and the internet right here. It all began right in that little red building in Morristown. So please come visit there, because that is where everything began in the world. What he wanted to do, though, was try to get Congress to appropriate funds for long distance testing. So think of that. He needed federal funds. He could not get funding for a while because many members at that time, members of Congress, were against what was called internal improvements, basically infrastructure. But finally, it passed in 1843. It was 1/3 agreed, a little bit over 1/3 agreed. 1/3 said no because they were against internal improvements, but 1/3 abstained because the idea of electric telegraphy was too esoteric for them. So finally, lines were set up between the Capitol building and a train station in Baltimore, about 45 miles away. The crowd gathered at the old Supreme Court building in the Capitol building. And the first message was, "What hath God wrought?" It was from the Torah, the book of Numbers. And once it became successful, because people realized messages can be sent in an instant and in minutes rather than hours or days. And it was also the first federally funded R&D project. So that was another interesting thing. Eventually, decades later, this invention will lead to the telephone and electric distribution. So Alexander Graham Bell and Thomas Edison can be thankful for what happened in Morristown. So I encourage people to come to Speedwell Village to see where the communications revolution began, right here along the banks of the Whippany River. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Committeeman Jonnada. Committeeman Gyorfy.
Thank you, Mayor. I'll keep my report brief tonight. First, I wanted to mention that the Campus Advisory Board, which I chaired last year, has submitted our final report. That report, since it's submitted for the record tonight, will be public for viewing on our website as of tomorrow morning, I believe.
Yes.
And I would encourage us to include it in an upcoming newsletter should we see it fit. And I will also be sending it out to residents who have reached out to me directly with inquiries or comments on the board's work. So it was a group effort to put the report together. I think it provides a good overview of what the township is facing in terms of cannabis. If the township committee should choose to change our ordinances or keep them in place, I think it provides a good objective opinion on what our residents feel how our residents feel we should approach cannabis zoning should we do so in the future. Secondly, as chair of the budget committee, Mayor Guariglia and I have been in budget meetings for several months, and we're pleased to be getting to the very end of the budget process. And we'll be looking forward to having a presentation from Administrator Quinn on the budget. It is one of the harder parts of being on the township committee is figuring out what are our priorities for the year, in the future years, how do we prepare for some of the challenges that we face. And so it's a really tough project. I commend Administrator Quinn, our Chief Financial Officer, Sean Ferguson, and everyone, all the department heads who worked so hard and tirelessly starting in October to give us the numbers and information we need to make informed decisions. So we will be having more on that in the coming months. And lastly, I just wanted to note the Parks and Rec Advisory Board met this past week. Thank you to our Parks and Rec Director, Bill Fulch, as well as Alexis and Tim Hanfeld on his team for all their work in informing the advisory board, advisory committee on all their good work. They're going to have a lot of work to do based on the project we'll be able to fund in the budget, but we'll get more to that next month. So with that, those are my reports.
Thank you. Committeeman Ravitz.
Thank you, Mayor. I think people have heard plenty from me tonight. So I just want to say we did add for those people who are on the municipal messenger. And if you're not, you should be on it because it's the best way for the township to communicate with residents. There's a new edition on the Municipal Messenger where we give a short description of some of the major capital projects undergoing in town, so you can see how we're spending your tax dollars. As Mark had mentioned, we've been in budget process, so there's not a lot going on right now that's worthy of me mentioning it to you. So I'll just say that visit the Parks and Rec website for the latest and greatest events for residents of all ages. And I'll just conclude with a reminder that as you go about your business each day, to be kind, kind to ourselves and kind to others. Mayor.
Thank you. Deputy Mayor Grayzel.
Thank you, Mayor. I have two standing committee reports, one for the Economic Development Advisory Committee. I want to congratulate the 3 new appointments to EDAC that were on our agenda tonight in Resolution 85. We had 5 applications for 3 open spots, so I am very pleased to have so much interest in joining this committee. I want to thank Chairman Liam Gallagher for all the effort he did in interviewing along with me. I only interviewed 3. He interviewed all 5 of those applications. So I'd like to extend my thanks to Diana Agu, Meg Columbia Walsh, and Mike Patton for stepping up to do this volunteer role to help make our community a better place for all our residents and our businesses. It is only through the hard work of various volunteer committees that we can push forward so many new initiatives in our town. For engineering, I wanted to provide an update on the larger road projects we have. Last month, we accepted a bid for the Gregory Kennedy and Pine Tree reconstruction project. Next step is setting up a pre-construction meeting with the contractor, and hopefully we will be starting the work within the next few months, Mr. Quinn?
This spring, yes.
Yes, this spring. Very good. On the Southgate Parkway project, there's a pre-construction meeting already set for next week, and we hope that we can proceed with the start of that construction soon thereafter. And the next roadway project after this is Overlook Road, and I will have more updates on that in the coming months. For my general commentary, I wanted to thank Mr. Ravitz for his good work in putting together the Antisemitism proclamation and the event tonight. I wanted to thank the Cannabis Advisory Board for their good work. I appreciate the time the volunteer board members put into holding all the public meetings and drafting the subsequent findings. Thank you to Committeeman Gyorfy for his good work in leading that effort. I look forward to a robust discussion on this governing body of the opportunities in our municipality as outlined in that report. Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Grayzel. I wanted to extend in my comments, I wanted to thank our DPW crew for doing such a great job during both snow events that took place. And I'd also like to share that Congresswoman Cheryl's office dropped off Valentines for both DPW and the water pollution control staff that were made by students around the district. And it was really nice because they all got little Valentines thanking them and wishing them a happy Valentine's Day. As far as my reports, the Senior Citizens Advisory Committee, we held our first meeting of 2024, and we formed subcommittees for senior transportation needs, health resources, and keeping up the SCAC website. On the Transportation Advisory Committee, we had an update from Township Engineer Jim Slate on all the ongoing projects, and we had Sergeant Ribnicki on speeding concerns and safety in our neighborhoods. Due to many people being on vacation, though, we did not conduct any further business during TAC this time. Just want to mention, too, stopped by Duncan, opened up on Madison Avenue. It was a great event. Want to thank owner Dwar Patel for doing such a good job, and he's going to join some of our small business outreach discussions. Also, Duncan's made a $3,000 donation to Nourish New Jersey, which is does solutions for problems of hunger, homelessness, and poverty. So it's always nice to see our local businesses doing great work. I also just want to echo Committeeman Gyorfy's remarks about the budget. Can't say enough about what a great job Administrator Tim Quinn does, along with his staff and all the department heads in trying to do our best. The only last thing that I have is that on March 2nd at the Fairchild Firehouse, we're going to have a session for a couple hours, Meet the Mayor. And we're going to continue to do this throughout the year, and it won't just be the mayor. We're going to rotate through some of the committee people so that people in their neighborhoods can come to the firehouses and get to meet and not only bring their concerns, but bring to us any other great ideas that they might have for the township. So at this time, we can open our last public commentary session. There are currently 8 members of the public joining us on Zoom. And we'll take comments in person first and then switch over to Zoom. So please virtually raise your hand in Zoom if you would like to speak. Please state your name and address for the record before speaking. Please note the comments are limited to 5 minutes per speaker. If you have questions you would like answered, your remaining time to speak will be yielded back for that purpose. Is there a motion to open the public comment?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Are there any members from the public wishing to speak?
Good evening. My name is Pamela Watson. I live at 2 Coy Road, Unit D, Morris Township. And I would like to just thank the Township Committee for all the work that you guys do. It's so appreciative. And I'd also like to thank Mr. Quinn and Mr. Cantor for working with you and making things work possible, and the Township Secretary. So thank you. Clerk. So I just wanted to say thank you so very much for all that you do, because I am a Township member, resident, so I am very appreciative to hear all the things that you do. So thank you. That's all I wanted to say.
Thank you, Pam. And again, you are a township resident, and you're one that we all admire and appreciate all that you have done and continue to do for the township. Thank you. I don't see any hands raised.
Mayor, I'll make a motion to close the public portion.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
The time is now 8:49. Can I have a motion to adjourn the regular session?
So moved. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
The next regular Township Committee meeting will be held on Wednesday, March 20th, 2024 at 7 p.m. in person and via Zoom. We are adjourned.
Good job.